Olivia Dean is on a mad one. Her unique brand of neo-soul is making waves, with a #1 single and a #1 album following up viral streaming success and a bunch of sold-out stadium shows. But what makes her music so special? That's the question we'll answer in this video, as we break down a neo-soul song inspired by Olivia Dean to uncover the elements that make her sound so unique and so captivating. Neo-soul is back in a big way, so this is definitely a genre you want in your locker. Let's take a quick listen to the finished demo, and then we're gonna break it down.
I'm just swimming in the pools of your eyes, and I know I'm gonna be falling to you tonight. I'm gonna be falling into you tonight.
So let's break it down. We'll start where I started, which is with the main chord progression. The key to making neo-soul chords that feel like Olivia Dean and have that little bit of magic in them is, in my opinion, is just not overcomplicating things. I've been studying Olivia's music for the past few weeks, and one thing I noticed across a lot of her songs is she keeps the chords fairly straightforward. So that's exactly what I did here. We start with an A-7. We just go to another A-7, super easy, down to a straight up G major, and then we add in a few grace notes, just giving a little melodic flavor, and then we head into an F major 7. So that sounds like this. The important thing to note here is that the timing is keeping things interesting. We're going for this little tercero rhythm, the bum bum bum, and then we've got the final chord coming in halfway through the bar almost, which keeps things from feeling too static and boring, given that the chords are fairly simple. The one thing I really want you to take away from this chord progression though, and the thing I think you should be doing in your own music if you're not already doing it, is changing the chords up throughout the progression. So I played this progression through twice, and at the end I added a turnaround where we switch up the chords and it just breathes a whole new life into the progression. So here, instead of staying on this F major 7 chord for the whole time, we actually go to a D-7 and then to a C, and that just transforms the sound of the progression, in my opinion. Let's hear how that turnaround sounds. It just adds that little bit of groove and extra flavor. You're not necessarily expecting it. And so if you can, in your progressions, try and get a couple of variations in there, because it's going to add so much depth and life to your beats. Getting the mixing right of these chords is also important to capture that neo-soul vibes. You want some ambience, you want some feeling, you want some weight. So let's take a listen to what we started with and what we ended up with after adding some plugins. It's a big difference, and it's not actually that hard to get there. I added a little bit of this tube EQ emulation from Plugin Alliance, threw on some old school vintage tube style compression that really added some weight. Another key plugin is to add a bit of tape. Olivia Dean's music's really organic and live feeling. I think the tape just helped add a little bit of that authenticity to it to me. Follow up with a little bit of chorus and this Bucket Brigade delay kind of reverb combo thing, and Bob's your uncle. There you go. I make these videos to help you become a better producer. But to be real, tutorials can only get you so far. True growth happens when you've got a coach in your corner 100% focused on you. That's your goals, your process, and your sound. And that is why I built Producer's Paradise. It's a 12-week mentorship program designed to help you stop second-guessing yourself, actually finish the songs that you start, and get clean, pro-sounding results every single time. So if you're done treading water and ready to make the best music of your life, hit the link in the bio. Let's get back to the video. The next most important thing for me was the drums. So like with a lot of Olivia's music, the drums are fairly simple. You don't need to do too much, but there are a couple of key things I want to cover that will really take your beats to the next level. So let's get into this. The basic kick and snare pattern sounds like this. Very simple. But the thing I want you to take away from here is that we get a nice organic live feeling, because none of the notes are really exactly on the grid. What I did was I just played this in, live, probably not with the best timing, and then when I quantized it, I just left it at 79%, so it's pulling things closer, but it's not just locking everything right to the grid. I think that makes it feel a lot more natural. The next thing I did was just add in this hi-hat loop that I chopped slightly to make it sound how I wanted it to do. Didn't put too much processing on it. It just has a little bit of EQ, some compression, and an LFO tool, making it like pump kind of in time to the kick. Together they sound like that. I liked this because it was adding to the 16th note rhythm we kind of had going on in the chords, so it all fit together really nice and really smooth. If we play it with the chords, you'll hear what I mean. And with some processing on, our final drum stem sounds like this. Next up, and very important, is our bass. For this bass, again, we're keeping with the whole theme of simplicity. So we're starting with our A, starting with our G, next up to our G. It's just the basic root notes. Then what we're doing is adding a couple of little grace notes and some interesting riffs and runs just to create a bit more movement. But the key thing I want you to listen for is the fact that I'm leaving the beats with the snare on pretty much free, because I want the snare to breathe, and that will create a much tighter pocket between your drums and your bass. So something to do when you're like making beats yourself is think about where your strong beats of the drums are hitting, and then try and have your bass play around those. Or think about where the strong beats of your bass are hitting and have your drums play around those. And so if we play the bass and the drums together, you can really hear how this sounds in action. Sounds awesome. In terms of mixing for the bass, it's really about making just things clearer and a little bit more punchy. So let's take a listen to before mixing and after. To get this effect, I added some EQ with the Pultec, followed it up with some 1176 style compression, added a nice Culture Vulture emulation from Arturia, and lastly, a little bit of chorus. Sometimes I find chorus really just brings out that soulful, fun feeling in a bass part, so it's definitely something to mess around with in your own beat. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but here, it definitely worked. Next up, we have this cool sound from the intro, which I just added to get some more depth and ambience because the rest of the beat was quite dry. So I wanted to create a bit of contrast in the intro. And that's something Olivia Dean does really well in her music as well. Our last kind of main element other than the vocals is this vinyl noise. Now, I have it way low in the mix, but I think it just brings things together. It's a nice little bit of glue underneath all your elements. When you're doing stuff that you want to sound organic and live, I really think it helps glue everything together. So definitely want to experiment with it for yourself. Last but not least, we have some Olivia Dean style vocals. For the vocal delivery, I wasn't necessarily specifically going for her style because she has a totally different range to me, but I was trying to keep it light, keep the lyrics kind of fun and romantic, and yeah, just feel out. Feel something that felt good and natural. I think that's what her music's all about, so that's what I went for. There is a little bit of noise in it because I had a dodgy microphone cable into my interface when I was recording these, so don't watch that. But here is what they sound like completely dry, no processing.
I'm just swimming in the pools of your eyes, and I know I'm gonna be falling to you.
Here is what they sound like with some processing on them. It's nothing crazy. We have got some send effects, quite a lot. And we also have some auto-tune, bit of EQ, just doing something pretty simple. Going into a de-esser, going into a compressor, going into another compressor. This one is crazy good, but crazy on the CPU, so I literally have to freeze it all the time. Then we've got some vintage tape. Oh, it's not gonna load till I change my GUI. And the old Voice of God preset in Soothe, that all sounds like this.
I'm just swimming in the pools of your eyes, and I know I'm gonna be falling to you tonight.
And that's everything. So let's take one more listen to our final beat. I'll see you in the next one, guys. Peace. Love ya. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already.